te atreves. Dame esto lento, quiero sentir tu cuerpo. Volamos juntos, cuando estamos juntos. Pa' que mi amor, somos el amor, el mundo se paró. Solo esta pasión. Mira, me siento el calor de tu mira. Cuando estás acá estoy tranquila y no me importa nada. Fuego, yo siento contigo un fuego. Me mata el olor de tu cuerpo y no me importa nada.
Trying, I thought you meant well, but you savage as hell. Telling me things we both know you regret. That hill should've told me about her before you sucked me in. You thought we could be cool for the summer.
Mira, me siento el calor de tu mira. Cuando estás acá estoy tranquila y no me importa nada. Fuego, yo siento contigo un fuego. Me mata el olor de tu cuerpo. Aquí mi amor, somos el amor, el mundo se paró. Solo esta pasión. Me siento el calor de tu mira. Cuando estás acá estoy tranquila y no me importa nada. Fuego, yo siento contigo un fuego. Me mata el olor de tu cuerpo y no me importa nada. Mira, me siento el calor de tu mira. Cuando estás acá estoy tranquila y no me importa nada. Fuego, yo siento contigo un fuego. Me mata el olor de tu cuerpo. Somos el amor, el mundo se paró. Solo esta pasión.
Hey there, and welcome back to Trial TV Live. I am the Squeegee of Justice. Thank you so much for joining us. We're in the afternoon session of day 6, part 2, if you will. We had morning session, then afternoon session, so thank you for coming back and joining us. We lost power last night, and everything rebooted, so we were having some issues with the internet today, so we just shut everything down during that lunch break. Everything seems to be okay now. So thanks for bearing with us and hanging out with us, listening to the music. I can put it back on. Yeah, have a little bit of music in the background while we wait. Lunch will be about another. Well, they're scheduled to come back at the bottom of the hour, which would be 4:30 Eastern. So we'll see how on time they are. But just to kind of recap, we heard from, how many did we hear from today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've heard from 8. Geez, really 8? Wow. Heard from 8 witnesses today already. Some of them are only like literally to talk about Karim's fingernail scrapings and a cell phone. The other one was she swabbed some handlebars, the seat, top part of the frame. Another one was he met Kimberlee at the hospital, got some DNA. Another one was just introducing the body cam of Alberto Osoro. I mean, they're really flying through. Oh, then Megan Silverlake. Well, she was on kind of a little bit. Well, she was somewhat long. Perry Silverlake. And right now we're in the middle of Officer Che. Right, I think it's Che, C-H-A-Y. Che McCampbell. So, yeah, Baca, not much of one. There wasn't much, not a whole heck. Thank you for that, but there's not a whole heck of a lot of recapping to do. It's been pretty. I guess Megan Wood, she was. Actually, the biggest news so far is juror number 8. That poor guy, he had a medical issue, so he's no longer with the jury. So number 2 took juror number 8's position. Let's see, the first witness, she. Hope I see some activity. The first witness wasn't too. Like, she had the most interesting things. She talked about. Let's see. She collected blood samples from David, the knife sheath. Yeah, she talked a lot about contributors, non-contributors, inclusive. I wish they had just kind of. She was I really liked her presentation, and she had a nice PowerPoint, and she was really easy to understand. But then at the end of the day, I didn't quite understand. I don't know. Like, a lot of times, these lawyers were asked these really technical questions, and then they'll be like, "Okay, so the jury can understand this, blah," and they make it really simple. So I don't know if. To be quite honest, I don't know if Carlos was contributor to the water bottle or not. I'm assuming he was, but the bottled water was smeared blood. There were 23 contributors, and that's what I have. Inconclusive? No, 2 contributors. No way there was 23. 2 contributors. Carlos was inconclusive. So at the end of the day, it seems like he wasn't even it just seemed wasn't. Yeah, I was kind of bummed about that. Yes, prayers for number 8. I hope he's okay. Thank goodness for alternates, and I think they have like 4. How was everybody's break? Anything exciting happening out there? We were getting rain, and it turned pretty sunny here. It rained all weekend, although really it was mostly yesterday that the rain came, and this morning. I was able to get out and mow on Saturday, which was good. All right. Waiting for court to come back. 4:30. Another couple minutes, unless they are late. All right. Enjoy your session. Therapist, you know. Deanna May is back as well. Awesome. Just Shamrock rain today in Northern California. We love it. Zach is asking, therapist, you know, how does that make you feel? I think I would go based on her emoji there, Zach. I think she's going to have fun with it. Thank you, Lily Wayne. Aaron put this soundtrack together. We're trying to do different soundtracks for the different trials. So every trial we have, we're going to have a different soundtrack. And, we're trying to obviously make it go with the trial as best as we can. Like Zachary Hughes, classical piano player. So we went with that. Let's see, Monica was just kind of jazzy, lounge. She should have been like 70s, That would have been funny. Yeah, so Patrick Loyola, Aaron found a lot of music from Africa, from the Congo, so that we were doing that. This is from all three, actually, Aaron found from Spain, from California, from Mexico, so we're trying to get everybody. Lebanon, because Karim was Lebanese, so we're just trying to incorporate that. All right, should be starting up any minute now. Brad's having a gentle, steady rain all day here, which is helpful for allergy season. 100% agree with that. Widespread agrees. Love it when it rains in the spring. We're supposed to be 95 this weekend. Oof. I got to mow the rest of the lawn this weekend. Not looking forward to that. All right, green-eyed cat, time to go home. Enjoy your home, your drive home, I guess, right? Kathy, trying to rain here. We got plenty of rain over the weekend and today, so it could dry out. Yeah, widespread, 95 already. Yep. Way above average, I can tell you that much. Well, I'll tell you what our average is. Here, let me turn off this just in case they come back. I'll turn that down. All right, what is our average? Our average is 86 this time of year, 86. So 95 is going to be pretty high above. Right now it's 81. Well, now they're saying 94, 93, 93, 93, 91. Yeah, we're going to be in the 90s from Thursday until next Wednesday. Summer, she is here. That's all I can say. But we had a pretty decent spring. Psychosaurus Rex, you hate rain? It smells like worms. Aw, but I like it here in fire country. Yeah, staves off the wildfire risk a little longer. I bet. Ooh, therapist, it's going to be 100 the next couple of days. Youch. Zach, 106 on Wednesday. Lily Wayne, beautiful warm day in here, Ontario. The rest of the week is rain. Get Polly indoors. It's too hot to be pregnant out there. I agree, widespread. She comes in. She's out right now, but she knows. She knows. Summer can suck it, yeah. Summer's pretty hot and humid here. It's been gorgeous. Zach, that's cool. Just Shamrock. We washed ours Friday, but ruined it yesterday by driving out to the river to canoe. Wait, what did you wash? Oh, wait. Oh, looks like all right. Looks like the jury's coming in. All right, I'll see you guys on the other side of the break. Yeah, therapists, I agree. We get bit in the summer. There's all kinds of bugs. I like winter. I like winter. And for those of you that are coming in, lunch break seems to be over. We had some movement on the camera. I think the jury's coming in. So thank you for joining us. Susie, thank you. Selena K, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
In case CR 2023-1391, taking evidence, and we have the witness Shay McCampbell on the witness stand. All members of our jury present, all the parties and counsel present. Mr. Vanderhook, direct examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Corporal.
Good afternoon.
So when we left at the break, I was talking on a video that we have on the screen. And if we can just dim the lights a little bit. So we talked about this also being from kind of the second and F location. Do you remember us talking about that?
I do.
And so when we looked at the map earlier, you'd shown us kind of the intersection of second and F. Mm-hmm. If I pulled up the map again, would you be able to show me where on the map we're seeing from this view?
Sure.
And if we could switch over to the please. Okay, and so I have the map. This is the People's 25G backup on here. And are you able to see the area that's shown by this camera?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, can you show us where that is, sir?
Yeah, so the last video that we were just viewing, the subject that was on the bike was traveling from the west eastward, approximately right here in this location, going eastward from the west in this location right here, just prior to F Street.
Okay, so chronologically, between the two videos that we've seen, this one is actually slightly first in time, just like a moment before the first video.
It is.
And so,
Can we agree that the camera's at the campus store?
It is on the north-facing side, on the east side of the building of the campus store.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
If I call it the campus store, are you okay with that?
I am.
Okay.
and when we're talking about the campus store, Corporal, are we talking about this building here that's at the southwest corner of 2nd and F?
Yes.
And so we have one view that's looking out into the intersection and one view that's looking out to the street just before the intersection?
Correct.
Thank you. And so for this same set of cameras, was there additional video from later in the evening?
From the same vantage point or the cameras, yes, there were.
Okay. And so I'm going to switch back to the yes. So I pulled up a video here. This is the video ending in, or with a numerical sequence that ends in 10_775. Are you able to see this, Corporal?
Yes.
And do you see the same intersection that we saw in the very first video that we played during your testimony?
It is the same intersection.
All right. From the timestamp, can you tell when this video is from?
11:50 p.m.
All right. And so I'll play this video for you. Pause the video at the 1 minute 14 second mark. Were you able to see that, sir?
I did. I can see it.
And did you see an individual crossing the intersection during that video?
I did.
And so going back to the Google Map overview of the area, let's switch to the Elmo, please. Thank you. And looking at the intersection here of 2nd and F, where is it that we're seeing this person and which way are they going?
From the vantage point of the cameras on a campus store, the subject is seen on the north side of the street, approaching F from the direction of east.
Okay, so they're going the opposite direction as in the first video.
Opposite, yes, sir.
Okay, and they kind of look like they were on the sidewalk. Which of the two sidewalks are they on?
On the north side. From the vantage point of the cameras, they'd be across the street.
Understood. So I'm going to go back to the videos. Hopefully. And I'm going to pull up the video that ends in 50_10-775. Are you able to see this video, sir?
Yes.
And you recognize this angle from the previous set of videos that we played?
Yes.
And we'll play this video for a little bit. video at 1 minute 47 seconds. If we could go back to the L for just a moment, please. So, sir, when we were talking about this view earlier, you were talking about how this is the street that's west of the intersection with F. Were you able to see the an individual in this most recent video that I played?
Yes.
And which direction were they going?
They were traveling westward.
So the opposite direction from the prior video that I showed you, the same person?
Opposite.
Or sorry, with the person. And then I want to ask you, which sidewalk are they on?
The last footage that we just viewed, they were on the north side.
All right, and I want to go back to that footage for just 1 second. On this footage from the north side here, do you see the timestamp here on the video?
I do.
When is this video from?
May 1st, 2023.
And at what time?
At 11:51 p.m.
And you verified that the video recordings from this particular set of cameras gives accurate timestamps?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I have one last video that I'm going to go to. So are you able to see this camera?
Yes.
And I want to go back to the Elmo and kind of understand where this camera is located and what angle we're seeing here.
Okay.
If we would be able to switch that, please, sir. Okay. So, are you able to see on people's 25G where this camera is located and where it's viewing?
So I believe the footage that you just had up was going to be on the building at 200B Street, which would be west of this location, a few more blocks down.
It's further down?
Further down.
Okay, would it be helpful if I played the video for you?
Sure.
And so this kind of 200B Street, is this further away than that second and F location that we were talking about before?
It's approximately four blocks. It's a continuation of Second Street. It's where Second runs into B-Boy Street.
Okay, so then I want to ask you about this set of camera. This camera then. Did you have access to this camera view as well then?
I did.
And is this from the same private citizen who has various cameras?
Yes, sir.
And so I'm going to put on the overhead people's 25A. Looking at 25A, are you able to see where this camera is located?
Just a second. So, okay, yeah, so this is B. B Street runs north and south. This is a continuation of Second going westward. The camera view that we're looking at is on the rear of this building. There's a fence line that separates this building from another business, and there's a breeze through or walkway, and there is a camera position right there facing southwards towards 2nd Street.
And so then this building is on the north side of 2nd with its view facing southbound so that it can glimpse some of 2nd.
Yes, sir.
And the building that you indicated is this white building near that's at the kind of northeast corner of the intersection of 2nd and B.
It is.
And so then the alley that you're talking about is at the east end of that particular building.
Yes.
And so, sorry. So we'll switch back to this. On this camera here, we have a timestamp here that's now advanced to 23:55. Are you able to see that?
Yes.
What time is that in civilian time?
11:55 p.m.
All right, and this is again a timestamp that you know to be accurate based on working with this particular system.
Yes.
So you can take that down. Thank you.
Well, hold on just a second. Is that car parked on 2nd Street?
It's parked on 2nd Street facing north.
I misunderstood your testimony. I thought the building was on the north side of the street and the camera was facing
South.
south. Oh, the car's facing north.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, yeah, good. You're clear, I'm not. I got it now. Thanks. Good, I'm good.
Thank you, Aaron. So, Officer or Corporal, I apologize. Have you reviewed these particular sets of surveillance video before?
Previous to this night, yes.
And, sorry, these recordings that we showed you in court, have you seen these recordings before?
Yes, I have.
And for purposes of this question, I just want you to assume that the person in the first 2 videos is the same as the person in the remaining 3 videos. Did you see any difference between the person in the 2 sets of videos?
No, I did not.
As far as, did you see any videos as far as their method of movement or how they were moving?
Speaking towards like body mechanics.
Well, how about this? In the first set, were they riding a bike?
They were riding a bike.
And in the second set, were they riding a bike?
They were riding a bike.
Okay. Was there something different about how they were riding the bike in the 2 sets of videos?
The second set, when the subject was going westward, the opposite way, he was going slower, coasting on the bike.
And did it appear to you that there was anything physically wrong with that person?
Action simulation.
Assistant.
Was there any indication on the video to you that the person in the second set of videos was injured?
From what I saw, yeah. I mean, it kind of stuck out that he didn't have full use of a leg. He wasn't pedaling.
Nothing further.
Okay. All right, thank you. Mr. Hutchinson, cross-examination.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So the business at the intersection of 2nd and F Street, that is the UC Davis store?
It is.
That is a private business that is not owned by UC Davis?
The building itself is privately owned with an assortment of businesses located.
So when you speak of knowing the owner, you're referring to the owner of the building,
Yes, sir.
not the owner of the business?
Correct.
2nd Street, that's a major, very popular travel road in downtown Davis,
Correct, yeah.
lined with many businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Many popular businesses.
Yes.
And you know from your experience that many of these businesses have security cameras pointed towards 2nd Street.
I would imagine.
The UC Davis store, what does that store sell?
Apparel associated with the college, UC Davis.
It's a store that probably many, if not most, of UC Davis students are familiar with. Would you agree with that?
I would admit, yeah, I agree.
The cameras that are on the corner that we just saw, they're very visible. If you walk by, you can clearly see there are cameras there. Correct?
I've never personally walked under and peered at them, but yeah, they're hanging from the front part of the store.
You said you've gone to this business multiple times to get camera footage.
Via email, like I've been to his office. I'm aware where the cameras are located. I wouldn't say I've sat and peered at the external camera.
Have you ever gone out to the corner and looked?
I have.
There are 2 cameras on different sides of the building, one on one side, one on the other, correct?
Of the Aggie store?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So there's one camera on the side of the building that is facing north.
Yes, sir.
And that's the footage we saw that gave us kind of a close-up view as the person rode the bicycle traveling west.
Yes, sir.
There is another camera on the side of the building that is facing east.
Correct.
And that is the camera that gave us some of the farther view of the individual crossing the intersection of 2nd and F.
Correct.
As you sit here today, you don't recall ever looking up at those cameras to see how noticeable they are, that there is a camera there?
I cannot honestly sit here and say I made a concerted effort and stood on the corner to locate the camera.
The person on the bicycle, when they were traveling eastbound, approximately 11 o'clock, that second street runs straight into the Amtrak station, you said? Mm-hmm. You have to answer yes.
Yes.
And that is the direction this person was traveling, as indicated on the video.
Yes, sir.
And the other video that you checked, that was a camera operated by or on a building owned by the same property owner?
Yes, sir.
And you said that was on the corner of, it's on a building located on the corner of 2nd and B Street.
Correct.
As you're getting closer to the UC Davis campus.
Correct.
Black Bear Diner is just across the street from this building on the
Correct.
To be the northwest corner of 2nd and B.
Yes, sir.
The camera we saw, which had the truck was parked on 2nd Street, kind of diagonally in a parking spot.
Yes, sir.
The prosecutor asked you about the differences in the movements of the individual from the first video and the second video. The first video, the individual was pedaling a bike.
Correct.
The second video, the individual was sitting on a bike.
Correct.
But using one leg to push the bike.
Correct.
So when you said that he appeared to be injured, you were making an assumption based on the movements you observed.
Yes, sir.
But from the vantage point that you saw, you couldn't tell if anything was wrong with the bike at that time.
Correct.
If a chain, you're familiar with bicycles?
Yes, sir.
If a chain falls off a bicycle for whatever reason, then you can't pedal it, correct?
Correct.
You would actually have to put the chain back on the spoke before you can pedal it.
Correct.
But if a chain has fallen off the spoke, you could push the bicycle with one foot.
Yes.
But it would probably be more logical and be more efficient to simply put the chain back on the bicycle. Would you agree?
Depends. I mean, in those circumstances I've been in, I've done either or, so.
So when you've had, you've been riding a bicycle when the chain falls off?
Yeah.
Okay. And in those circumstances, you have just pushed with one leg your entire way home without fixing the chain?
The times that happened to me as a child, I was able to maneuver and just put it back on the rear sprocket.
Even as a child, you were able to put the chain back on the bicycle?
Yeah, I moved the bolt and slide the rear rail back.
And then once it's back on, then you can ride?
Carefully, yes, sir.
I have nothing further. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, counsel. Mr. Vanderhook, any redirect?
No, no, no.
Okay,
Thank you, Officer McCampbell. I appreciate your testimony. Have a great day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. DeMora.
We'll call Sergeant John Lopes.
Okay, John Lopes. Okay. Good afternoon, sir. Come in and stand here at the podium. Thank you for making time for us today.
Certainly.
I'm going to have the clerk administer the oath and then have you take the witness stand.
You do solemnly swear that you must give and cause nothing but the court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Be seated. State your first and last name for the record. Spell them both.
John Lopes, Johnlopes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. DeMar, direct.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Sergeant Lopes.
Good afternoon.
Where do you work?
I'm a sheriff's sergeant with the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office.
And how long have you been with the Sheriff's Office?
Approximately 33 years.
And currently, what's your assignment?
Currently, I'm assigned to corrections at the main jail.
And prior to your promotion, were you involved with CSI work?
I was, previous to the main jail, I was assigned to CSI for the last about 28 years.
And what was your role with CSI?
I was a deputy sheriff assigned to the CSI unit, and in that position, a crime scene investigator would take photographs of scenes, video, process scenes for fingerprints, DNA, collect evidence. Sometimes we prepare crime scene maps of scenes.
And you were called out as part of the Sacramento Sheriff's team that came to assist the Davis Police Department with a series of stabbings back in April and May of 2023?
I was.
And on May 2nd of 2023, in the early morning hours, well, maybe not really early, but 7:45 a.m. that day, did you respond to Davis and start processing the scene at the corners of 2nd and L Street?
I did.
And what was your role in processing that scene?
At that particular scene, my role was to take the still photographs of that location and then also film a scene video.
And when you met, when you responded to that area, did you meet with a Corporal Alex Torres and a dispatcher by the name of Shannon Hall?
I did.
Had they been documenting the scene prior to your arrival, or did they document it with you?
They had started processing that scene or documenting it before my arrival.
Now, at the time, were you made aware that there had been a stabbing around close to midnight on May 1st, previous evening?
I was, yes.
And so your role was to document the scene, when you first responded there in the morning on May 2nd, correct?
Correct.
And so have you seen, I'm going to show you some photographs from People's Exhibit 24. Did you have a chance to look through People's Exhibit 24 prior to court today?
I did, yes.
And was that a series of approximately 381 photographs that you looked through?
Correct.
And were those photographs that you recognize as ones that you took?
Correct.
And do those fairly and accurately capture what you viewed on May 2nd, 2023?
They do.
I'll show you some of the photographs. So we're going to start with ending in 6429.
What do you think? There. Nope, that's not it. We don't want to see that.
Sorry. Lopes, is this a photograph that you recognize?
I do, yes.
And so, are we looking at, what were you trying to capture in this photograph?
These are a series of photographs of the surrounding street area. So what we do is we don't just take photographs showing a specific location. We begin by showing the surrounding area to tie it to a specific event or a specific scene that may be in the neighborhood. So here we're starting to show an intersection corner where we will be moving around through that area and taking additional photographs.
At the time you knew, well, obviously based on the crime scene tape, but you knew approximately where the stabbing had taken place?
Correct. When we arrive on a scene, we will meet with detectives and we will talk to them about the location of the scene, what it entails, what we're looking for, before we begin taking the photographs.
We're going to dim the lights. Thank you, Dennis.
I'm showing you photograph 6495. Now, is this another photograph where you're zooming in more into the location where the stabbing had taken place?
It is, yes.
Now, I want to go a little bit closer in. Were you taking photographs? Oh, when you arrived on scene, were there still tents set up in that area?
There were, yes, there were sleeping tents that were on the sidewalk. They would be in this photograph, if you could see them. They're behind the two vehicles that are near the center of the roadway, that are parked, or the right side of the roadway, that are parked near the center of the photograph. And you could see a blue, like a pop-up tent. The actual sleeping tents that we're talking about would be to the right of that blue pop-up tent.
Do you happen to have a laser pointer up there?
I do.
Did you just identify that, use the laser pointer to point to where those tents were in relation to that blue pop-up?
Certainly. So the blue pop-up tent is just to the left of center of the photograph, and to the right of that, there's of that tent, there's a dark-colored car, and the sleeping tents would be under the trees to the rear or behind that dark-colored car.
Show you another photograph, 6849. And is this one of the tents that you were describing that was in that photograph?
Correct. So in this photograph, we're looking almost in the opposite direction from that previous photograph. So in the previous photo, we were looking south. In this photograph, I've moved down the street and I'm looking back north. You can see on the very right-hand edge, there's an open white car door, and there's above that car door, there's a blue tarp or tent. That was what we were talking about in the previous photograph. And then to the left of that blue tarp, you can see a pop-up tent. You can begin to make out the word investigations. And underneath that tent, near the center of the photograph, is one of the sleeping tents that we're talking about.
Going to photograph 6918. Now, this is a zoomed-in version, or a zoomed-in picture of that tent you just described, correct?
Correct. This is just a little bit closer than the previous photograph, taken from almost the same area. And the exposure has been changed on the camera so that we can clearly see that tent that is underneath the investigations pop-up tent that was placed there due to the rain that day.
Now, to the best of your knowledge, when you went through a briefing with detectives and everything, is one of the things that you ask or you talk about or discuss to determine whether the crime scene has been preserved in a way to reflect where items were to the best of their ability?
Yes, we want to find out, has the previous team that began to work there, if they had moved anything, if they'd altered anything, if they'd stepped on anything, what have they added to the scene, if anything.
And at this time, when you're documenting the scene, was it your understanding, or tell me if it was, that the tents had been left the tent that we're looking at had been left pretty much undisturbed other than medical personnel?
Section foundation, speculation.
Sustained.
Have you received any information about the condition the tent was in when you were documenting it versus how it had been the day before?
What I had been told was on the...
Sustained.
Is the effect on the listener?
Sustained.
Let me ask this. In looking at this tent, obviously it's still attached to the ground. Were there any signs or indications to you that it had been taken apart, dismantled, and then put up again?
No.
And so as we're looking at this tent, you're documenting this tent, were there openings in this tent? When I say openings, I mean a door or a cut in this tent?
There was a doorway to the tent, but that was zipped closed. And on the north side of the tent, which is the opposite side of this photograph that we're looking at here, not this face, but the opposite side, the tent material had been cut or torn open.
And I will. Looking at 6972, and is this what you were just describing, that opening in the tent?
Correct. So this photograph is just taken from the previous photo we looked at. I was looking north. In this photograph, I've moved to the north side of the tent, and I'm looking south, so we're seeing that opposite side. And then in the center of the photograph, on the face of the tent, you can see a darkened area. We can actually look through a wall of the tent into the interior, where you can see contents on the floor, which is that gray material in between the red.
It looks like there's some type of netting over the tent. Do I have that correct?
There is a green, I think a yarn that had been placed over the side of the tent to create a grid, and it was held in place by binder clamps, and that had been placed there by the initial Davis Police Department crime scene team.
Going to photograph 7149. You mentioned the opening, or excuse me, like the zipper area to the tent. Is this what we're looking at right now on the right side of the picture?
Correct. So this photograph, if you think of the previous photo, what I've done is I've shifted to the right, and I'm now looking to the east. So we're looking at the face of the tent where the door is, which is zip closed. And if we look to the rear of the tent, you can see the white van just to the left of the tent, and above that would be that blue tarp that we began talking about.
Showing you 7227. Now you mentioned two tents. Is this the second tent?
It is. This tent was just to the north of the previous tent, the red-colored tent that we've been talking about.
Where are you in relation to that red tent when you're taking this photograph?
The red tent would be just out of view to the right. So if I turn basically 90 degrees to my right from this photograph we're looking at now, you would see that red tent.
7257, please. All right, so looking at 7257. Now, on this photograph, again, Sergeant Lopes, we're looking at that red tent. I see some dirt in that area, or at least in this picture. Is the tent off of the sidewalk, meaning it's not touching the sidewalk?
Correct. The tent is in the dirt portion of the planter area adjacent to the sidewalk.
Do you recall about how much room there was between the sidewalk and the tent?
Several feet, if I were to guess.
Objection, speculation, you want to strike?
Sustained, stricken. It's partly because of the way you phrased it. You said, I'm guessing. We can't have guessing. But he can circle back with you if he likes.
All right, how about we go to 7263? All right, looking at the left side of the tent, are you able to estimate, to the best of your ability, how much distance between the sidewalk and the tent?
About 2 feet.
Yeah, so we just use the phrase, I guess, sometimes when we really have a reasonable estimate, and that's what you just did.
Correct.
I get it.
And did you have the opportunity to take a few photographs of the interior of the tent?
I did, yes.
7311. Great. Photograph 7311. Are we looking through the tent, through that opening that we described as on the north base, or excuse me, north side of the tent?
Correct. There's the cut torn area, which is exposed here, so we can see the red outer wall. And then that gray area in that top, almost half of the photograph, that is inside. There's a red binder that is on the right-hand side of the photograph. Below that, on the right-hand side, there's a hairbrush. And you can see other contents back in the top left-hand corner as well.
And that right binder is off to the side where the zipper opening is that correct?
Correct.
When you were inspecting the tent and photographing it, did you see any other cuts or tears in that tent? Like the gray rain cover on top?
No, I did not.
We go to 7410, please. And is this a picture of you looking down through the cut that's in the tent?
It is. So from that previous photo where we were looking back deeper into the interior portion of the tent, in this photograph, I'm looking almost straight down into the interior to show what is closest to me, near my feet. In fact, probably is my foot at the very bottom corner. So I'm looking almost straight down, and you can see there's probably like a cell phone with something plugged into it, a cord that's there.
What's that that black item that's just off to the right, looks like a cigarette pack?
The dark item here?
Yes.
I believe that is a tablet of some type.
Like a digital tablet?
Correct.
And going to 7455. Is this Sergeant Lopes, is this a ground level view looking through that cut in the tent?
It is.
One moment. Thank you, sir. No further questions.
Thank you, counsel. Any cross?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
My name is Dan Hutchinson. Thank you for being here this afternoon. So, in addition to yourself, Shannon Hall from the Davis Police Department was taking photographs at the scene when you were there?
No, she was not. By the time I arrived, the Sheriff's CSI team took over doing everything.
So, when you arrived, were you the only person taking photographs?
That I was aware of, yes.
Was Alex Torres from the Davis Police Department there at the time when you were there?
Most of the time, yes.
And when I'm referring to Mr. Torres, you know who I'm referring to?
Uniformed Officer Torres?
At the time, yes. Do you know someone by the name of Alex Torres who works for the Davis Police Department?
I believe I met him that day, yes.
Sure. And all the photographs you took were given to Mr. Torres?
The photographs were burned over to a CD or DVD, and they were sent over to the Davis Police Department, I believe, the following day, and they were taken there by Sergeant Lowry.
So I'm going to show you some of the photographs. I'm going to sit down.
Certainly.
So this is People's Exhibit 24 with photo ending 6672. Sir, this is one of the photographs that you took?
I believe so, yes.
It appears to be looking west on what's considered the gravel portion of 2nd Street. You're not familiar with Davis streets, correct?
Correct.
All right. This appears to be facing west. Can you determine that from the photo?
Yes, this would be facing west. Those are the railroad tracks that are on the left-hand side of the photograph.
Because you did not know what would be ultimately relevant, you took hundreds of photos.
Yes, and again, it's part of what we typically do on scenes is we will take numerous photos to show the surrounding location.
Many of the photos you take may ultimately not be particularly relevant, but you don't know that at the time. Would that be a fair statement?
Correct.
Now, can you see where this little cursor is? There appears to be a pile of gravel down here. Can you see that?
I do on the right-hand edge.
There also appears to be some object on the other side of that gravel. You see it appears to be a square type object.
I do. There's a darkened object just on the top of that gravel pile.
Sir, if you recall, did you ever walk down and observe what was located on the other side of this gravel pile?
I don't recall going down there.
So I'm going to show you some other photographs. This is marked Defense Exhibit E. I'm going to bring my laptop up, look through them. Even if you didn't take these photographs, if you recognize what is depicted, I'm going to ask you some questions about that.
Certainly.
So there's 5 photographs. And if you can there's the arrow. You just want to take a look at each of them, and then when you're done, let me know. Okay?
Certainly.
Sir, do you recognize the scene that is photographed in those 5 photos?
It's just the railroad trackside area. There's a power station that is also in the photographs.
Did you take those 5 photographs?
I believe so, yes.
And are those photographs an accurate depiction of what you photographed that day?
They would be, yes.
Permission to publish, sir?
Granted.
Now, sir, I'm showing what's been marked Defense Exhibit E. This is photo E1. You can see the gravel where my cursor is. Can you see the gravel pile?
I do in the bottom right-hand corner of the photograph.
And then we now have a closer view of that square object that we looked at. Does that appear to be an overturned chair or a sofa of some sort?
It appears to be something like that, yes. It's just to the left of the gravel pile now.
I'm going to zoom in a little bit, sir. Between the gravel pile and that overturned chair, do you see what appears to be a log or a portion of a down power pole?
I do see that item that runs there parallel to the ground, and it's against those green bushes.
And you may not be able to tell, but right where my cursor is right here, can you see if that appears to be the cut end of when the pole ends?
It would appear to be a cut end, yes.
Showing what's been marked. Photo E2. Again, sir, I'm going to zoom in. This shows the gravel, the overturned chair and that appears to be a wooden power pole or something similar to that?
Correct.
And now this is Defense Exhibit E3, and now you're farther back, but if you zoom in, you can see down here the chair, the gravel, and from a distance, the pole.
Correct. In this photo, the items that we're talking about, that pole, that gravel, the chair, would be there on the bottom left-hand corner.
And now I'm going to E4. Again, this is another photo of those items we were just discussing.
Correct. And those items are in the same area, bottom left-hand corner.
And showing you what has been marked Defense Exhibit E5. This shows, it appears to be an apartment complex on the south side of the railroad tracks.
Correct.
So someone sitting on that wooden pole would be looking and facing south, would be looking at the apartment complex, which is right across the tracks.
Correct.
And sir, when you arrived at the location, Davis Police CSI had already left, with the exception of Mr. Torres?
They were still at the scene initially. That's who we met with and talked to Officer Torres, and then there was a female dispatcher / CSI person that was there at the scene.
But at that point, it was you and your team that took over the processing?
Correct.
In addition to yourself, how many other members of your CSI team were there?
My sergeant at the time, Sergeant Lowry, Rachel Lowry, and then we called in Deputy Ariel Fontes to assist with the evidence collection from the scene.
If you recall, what time did you arrive at the location, or did your team arrive at the location?
Sergeant Lowry had arrived prior to me, and Deputy Fontes arrived later. I can tell you the time that I arrived at the scene if you'd like.
Did you document that in your report?
I did.
Would it refresh your memory to look at your report?
It would.
Your Honor.
Okay.
So I arrived at 11:50 in the morning.
So, assuming that the stabbing occurred at approximately 11:45 p.m. the prior night, you arrived approximately 12 hours after the incident.
Correct.
You said there was an officer who arrived before you from your team?
Correct. That was Sergeant Lowry.
When you arrived, was Sergeant Lowry already engaged in processing the scene, or did he wait for you to arrive to begin, if you know?
She waited for me to arrive because the sergeant typically does not process the scenes. It's the deputies.
So Sergeant Lowry, she was at the scene. She waited for you to arrive. Did you begin processing before the other member of your team arrived?
I did.
And whatever happened at that scene during the 12 hours before you arrived, you have no personal knowledge of that?
Correct.
Nothing further. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, counsel. Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. Okay, Sergeant Lopes, thanks for your time. Have a great day.
Okay. Thank you, too.
Okay, Mr. DeMora.
People call it Detective McCluskey.
Okay. Good afternoon, sir.
That's it.
Come in all the way to the podium right here, sir. Thank you for being here.
Yes.
The clerk will administer the oath, and then we'll have you take the witness stand.
You do solemnly swear to speak what you give, to cause confidence of the court, shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please be seated. State your first and last name for the record. Spell and quote.
Henry McCluskey, HenryMcClusky.
Okay, I just realized that I need a stretch break. So thank you. And the first thing we're going to do is feel free to stand up and stretch with me. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. And we're going to take a hard break at 3 o'clock, depending upon where the witnesses take out. We're going to try to get to 3 o'clock. I'll be right there.
Stretch break. Stretch break. All right, here. Let me show you. Drunky the Bear, this is for you. Stretch break. Stretch break. And then there's Slim. Slim had a rough road trip. He had a rough road trip. He's still recuperating.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
What's your job?
I'm a detective with the Sacramento Police Department.
How long have you been a detective with the Sacramento Police Department?
I've been a detective for about 7 years and with the department for over 20 years.
And were you working for the Sacramento Police Department as a peace officer back on May 2nd of 2023?
Yes.
And on the day, did you come to the city of Davis to assist with an investigation related to a stabbing?
Yes.
Is it normal for detectives with the Sacramento City Police Department or at the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office to just routinely come to the city of Davis to do investigations?
No, I never have in my career.
Okay. How was it that you came to be doing work in Davis this day when this never happened on the other day?
It was, we'll provide mutual aid to a department if they don't have the resources. We're a much larger department than Davis, and I believe either they reached out or we reached out to them seeing if they needed help because they had multiple cases that were ongoing during that week.
Okay, so your agency is helping out another law enforcement agency.
Yes.
And as part of your assistance to the Davis Police Department, did you and other
Right. What just happened here? See, Joe, this is what happens when the feed just like goes offline. What the? All right. Bear with me. Let's see if we can find another feed. Hang on, guys. Hang on. Let me go to KR. Let's see if these guys have it. All right, hold on. I got another feed. Hold on. Everybody's having internet issues today, right? All right, hold on.
Have you seen this video before?
I saw it at the time that we closed.
Give me a second. Okay.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
What's your job?
I'm a detective with the Sacramento Police Department.
How long have you been a detective with the Sacramento Police Department?
I've been a detective for about 7 years and with the department for over 20 years.
And were you working for the Sacramento Police Department as a peace officer back on May 2nd of 2023?
Yes.
And on the day, did you come to the city of Davis to assist with an investigation related to a stabbing?
Yes.
Is it normal for detectives with the Sacramento City Police Department or of the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office that just routinely come to the city of Davis to do investigations?
No, I never have in my career.
Okay. How was it that you came to be doing work in Davis this day when this never happened on another day?
It was, we'll provide mutual aid to a department if they don't have the resources. We're a much larger department than Davis, and I believe either they reached out or we reached out to them seeing if they needed help because they had multiple cases that were ongoing during that week.
Okay, so your agency is helping out another law enforcement agency.
Yes.
And as part of your assistance to the Davis Police Department, did you and other detectives conduct canvass of the downtown area for surveillance video?
Yes.
Now, you go to the City of Davis often.
I think I've been there about 3 times.
And so when we talk about surveillance video, if I were to show you particular pieces of surveillance video that even perhaps you recovered, would you be able to orient them on a map and tell us exactly which way things were going, or would it be better to get someone from the Davis Police Department to orient those things?
It would probably be better if they did it.
Okay. Did you collect some surveillance video in this case?
Yes.
And specifically, did you collect video from the Illusions Smoke Shop in downtown Davis?
Yes.
And then, I may proceed, Chair?
Okay.
Showing has been marked for identification purposes, People's 26B. Can you take a look at that for me, please?
Okay.
And then I'm going to play the video. Have you seen this video before?
I saw it at the time that we collected it. It was outside video of the shop that showed the street and the sidewalks.
Okay, so this is video that you collected from Illusion Smoke Shop?
Yes.
And then the video's got a timestamp in the corner. Do you see that?
Yes.
As part of your job in collecting video, do you do work to verify that the timestamp on the video is accurate as to real world time?
Yes, it's standard practice to notate if it's, at that time or if it's much farther off.
Okay, and did you do that in this case?
Yes.
And was the timestamp accurate?
I did not notate one, so I assume it was because on another one that I collected, I notated that it was off.
Okay, so if the video timestamp is off, that's something you would know?
Yes.
And you didn't note anything there?
Correct.
And so, in addition to this video, so did you actually review all the videos that you collected, or did you just collect them?
We just collected them from that one we watched from 23. I notated that we watched from 23:43 to midnight.
Okay, and the video that I just showed you, was that one of the videos that you collected?
Yes.
I'm going to approach you again, same exhibit, but the second video that's on that, so there's only 2 videos on that video. You recognize this video?
Yes.
Is this also from the same camera, from Illusion Smoke Shop, same collection by you?
Yes.
And again, since this is the same camera, it would, if the previous timestamp was valid, this one would also be good.
Yes.
And then once you have these videos, what do you do with them?
We collected them on a flash drive, and then I handed them over to the Davis Police Department.
I don't have any additional questions from this witness.
Okay, thank you. Counsel, any cross?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So you said you'd only been to the city of Davis on approximately 3 prior occasions. Was this the 3rd occasion, or was this number 4?
I think this is probably number 1, maybe 2. I've gone there 2 other times. Not for police work, though.
You've passed through Davis, I assume, on Interstate 80 quite frequently, but you've never come into the city of Davis.
Not that I recall.
So when you went to these various businesses, you were careful to document the name and address of each business.
Yes.
The first business you went to was the Illusion Smoke Shop.
Yes.
That is located at 203 G Street in Davis.
Yes.
And you obtained video beginning on May 1st?
From Illusions, yes.
That was approximately 5 p.m. on May 1st?
Yes.
And that video continued until approximately 1 a.m. on May 2nd?
Yes.
You indicated you watched a portion of that video from approximately 11:43 p.m. on May 1st until midnight?
Yes.
And you observed one person ride by on a bicycle?
Yes.
Going westbound?
Yes.
You also obtained video from the cable car wash?
Yes.
That is located at 904 3rd Street.
Yes.
And you obtained the video beginning at 11 p.m. on May 1st
Yes.
and ending at 1 a.m. on May 2nd.
Yes.
You noted the timestamp on that video was not accurate.
Correct.
You noted in your report it was 18:30 fast. Do you mean 18 hours fast or 18 minutes and 30 seconds fast?
I believe I meant 18 minutes and 30 seconds fast, but it was 2 years ago. I didn't notate hours and minutes, I'm sorry.
In your report, you notate 18:30 fast.
I realize that I wish I would have written hours and minutes or hours and or day or sorry hours and minutes sorry or hours and minutes and seconds sorry.
Do you recall how you determined it was fast? Was that by watching the video or speaking to someone?
It was by watching the video and then looking at the time on the internet.
Did you watch the video in the business before obtaining the copy?
We looked at that time. It was hard at the cable car wash because it was outside. It's a kind of a different type of business. It's not like an office really, and it was difficult to see. So we just downloaded that video and checked the timestamp.
If you recall, did that video appear to be upside down?
I remember it was very difficult to watch at the time. So it could have been upside down. It was difficult to see what was going on.
Looking at that video, it was difficult to determine what you were looking at.
Yes.
And from what vantage point you were looking at.
Yes.
But you collected a copy anyway.
Yes.
You then went to the Regal Cinemas.
Yes.
That is located at 101 F Street.
Yes.
You did review evening video from the Regal Cinemas.
Yes.
The exterior video was limited, you indicated.
Yes.
But there was video showing outside the cinema.
Yes.
You did not observe anything of note.
Yes.
So you did not collect that video.
Correct.
You then went to the Hilton Garden Inn.
Yes.
That is located at 110 F Street.
Yes.
You noted that they did have cameras outside.
Yes, but they said they didn't work.
So you were able to see visible cameras, but when speaking with the owners or person in charge of the cameras, they advised you that they did not work.
Correct.
And as a law enforcement officer, you know that it's not uncommon for some store owners or businesses to have cameras for show only. That's not uncommon, correct?
There can be a whole host. They don't work. They don't pay for them. Lots of different reasons why they're not recording.
The next business you went to was a McCluskey restaurant.
Yes.
That's located at 501 First Street.
Yes.
They did have a camera that displayed just outside the door.
Yes.
You observed that camera?
Yes.
Did not observe anything of note?
Correct.
So you did not collect that video?
Correct.
You then checked the Village Bakery, which is located at 814 2nd Street.
Yes.
They did not have any exterior cameras.
Correct.
You You then went to Froggy's Bar.
Yes.
That's located at 726 2nd Street.
Yes.
Froggy's did have cameras,
Yes.
but you were advised by the employees they believed the cameras did not work, but they weren't sure.
Correct. They had to wait for a manager, and by the time we left, the person was not there.
These employees they did not have the ability to check to see if the cameras work or not.
If I recall correctly, they didn't believe they did work, so they didn't check, but they didn't have access to the cameras. I think a manager or owner had to access them.
But there were cameras at Froggy's.
On the exterior, yes.
But when you left, a manager had not responded by that time.
Correct.
And you yourself never followed up with Froggy's to see if those cameras were functioning.
No, my intent when I was writing the report was so that Davis PD, if they felt it necessary, could go back, and based on the notes I left them.
And in your report, you noted that as of the writing of the report, the manager of Froggy's had not responded to confirm whether the cameras were working or not.
Correct.
And that was the extent of the investigation that you personally conducted in this case.
For the most part, yes.
I have nothing further. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, counsel. All right, Mr. Vanderhook, any redirect?
No.
Okay, Detective McCluskey, thank you.
Welcome.
Have a great day.
You too.
Okay, Mr. Demora.
People call Detective Patrick Clutz.
Clutz, okay, thank you. All right, sir, good afternoon. Come on in and stand here at the podium. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
The clerk will give you an oath. After you take the oath, then the witness stand.
You do solemnly swear to say about the end, the cause now for the court, show me the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated. Take your first and last name for the record. Show them both.
My name is Patrick Klutz, Patrick Klutz.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Vanderhook, direct exam.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
What's your job?
I'm currently employed as a detective for the Sacramento Police Department.
How long have you been a peace officer for the City of Sacramento Police Department?
Approximately 12 years.
And were you working as a peace officer for the City of Sacramento Police Department back on May 2nd of 2023?
Yes, I was.
And on the day, did you go to the City of Davis to assist with an ongoing investigation within the City of Davis?
Yes.
And so, what was your role there?
Our role was to support the Davis Police Department in pretty much any way they needed help, but specifically I was assigned to canvass certain areas of the city.
Okay. Are you familiar with the City of Davis?
Sort of, somewhat.
Was one of the areas that you went to the SPCA thrift shop?
Yes.
And this is at 923rd Street in Davis?
Yes.
And did you review any surveillance videos from that location?
Yes, I did.
And what was the general view of this surveillance camera?
It was an interior-facing camera, or I'm sorry, an interior-located camera, so it was located inside the shop, the thrift shop, and it faced outwards towards 3rd Street, but just only until you can see the sidewalk in front of the store and just a tiny bit of the bicycle lane on 3rd Street.
And given your limited familiarity with the City of Davis, would you be a good person to show maps and to show us like which direction this kind of camera was showing and that sort of thing, or would that be better for a Davis Police Department officer?
Honestly, it'd probably be better for a Davis Police Department officer.
I'm going to approach you with what's been marked for identification purposes, People's 26D. Can you take a look at this?
Sure.
Did you say 26D?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
And do you see People's 26D?
I do see it.
So I'm just going to play a couple seconds of it. Have you seen this particular recording before?
That camera angle does look like the camera angle of the camera that I viewed.
Okay.
Yep, okay.
All right. And after viewing the camera angle and the camera footage, did you collect it?
Yes.
How did you collect it?
I believe it was via USB drive that we had the, I don't know if it was a manager, but an employee of the store assisted in burning it for us.
Okay. And as part of your investigation, did you look into whether or not the timestamp on that video that you're getting from the thrift store is accurate or not?
Yes.
And what were your findings regarding the accuracy of the timestamp on that video?
So when looking for the accuracy of the timestamp, the footage that we were viewing was labeled on the DVR system, on the camera system, as being 3 hours later, or in the future, I guess, if you were to say that.
Okay. So let me put it this way. So were you able to look at the timing system on the DVR system?
Yes.
And were you able to compare that to real world time?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so if for example, the real world time was 11 p.m., then what time is the DVR system stamping the video as being?
2 a.m. the next day.
And so the stamp is 3 hours ahead of what the real world time is?
Yes, correct. Yes.
And it's not like 3 hours, 15 minutes,
It was found to be 3 hours, yes.
New York time.
Yeah, essentially, yeah, Eastern time, yeah.
Okay.
And were you able to see a person on the clip?
Yes.
And from the DVR time, what was the DVR time saying the timestamp was for when you were seeing that person?
I believe it was 0212 or 0213, which is 2 in the morning or 2:13.
Okay, and if the timestamp is that, then what is it in the real world time?
It would be 11 p.m., 11:13 or 12, whatever that specific number was, the previous day.
Okay, so you've been there, you reviewed the video, you saw a person, you checked the timestamps, you collected the video. Once you collected the video, what do you do with it?
We turned it over to the Davis Police Department.
Okay, and did you review video from any other businesses in the area?
Yes, it was a glass shop that was within the same sort of a smaller business park area of the thrift store. But it was, yes, we reviewed some footage from that store as well.
Okay, so this is right near the thrift store then?
Yes, correct.
And was this Davis Glass and Screen?
Yes.
Also at 920 3rd Street in Davis?
Yes.
And did you locate camera footage from that business?
Yes.
And approach you with what's been marked for identification purposes as People's 26E. Are you able to see People's 26E?
Yes.
And is this the video that you recovered from Davis Glass and Screen?
Yes.
So when you recovered the video, how did you take possession of it?
We burned or saved a copy to a thumb drive, I believe, and then eventually turned it over to the Davis Police Department.
Understood. And on this video, as the video is starting, I'm seeing a timestamp on this particular section of video, and it says 11:49 p.m. Did you similarly check the video to see if the video recording system is recording it with an accurate timestamp or whether it is offbeat?
Yes.
And so for this video, what were your findings?
We found that the timestamp on the DVR or the video system was the same as in real time. So there was no disparity in the time.
Okay, and so a couple times here you said we.
I apologize. My partner, Detective Kyle Roberts, was assigned to assist.
Okay, and is Detective Roberts also at the Sacramento Police Department?
Yes, he is, yes.
And so when you were working this case, were you working together as a group of two?
Yes, correct.
Nothing further, no.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hutchinson, any cross?
Yes. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Prior to responding to assist with this investigation, did you ever have occasion to go within the city of Davis, the downtown area?
Not any time that I could specifically remember.
You testified you recovered surveillance from the thrift store.
Yes.
What was the address?
It was 920 3rd Street.
You also recovered surveillance from the glass store,
Correct.
and that was right next to this thrift store.
Correct.
Do you think you would be able to recognize, or you may be able to recognize locations on a map?
Yeah, I believe so.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as Defense Exhibit A.
Okay. Does this work?
So, sir, just by reference, here is H Street. There's a Ace Hardware. There's some railroad tracks. I'm directing your attention to the corner of Third and I. Is this where the thrift store is located?
Yes, sir.
And the thrift store sits a little bit back, and there's a parking area in the front.
Correct. I believe so, yes.
And the glass store, is that in the building which would be immediately to the west of the thrift store?
Yes.
There are also other businesses in that complex in addition to the glass store.
Correct, yes.
And what is the full name of the glass store again, sir?
I believe it's the Davis, I don't know the full name of it.
It's the only glass store in that building.
Okay. Yeah.
You don't recall seeing any other glass stores?
No, yeah, correct. Yeah.
And you recall, is there a car wash also in this area, the cable car wash? If you recall?
Yeah, I do recall. It's kind of set back as cars can drive back through there, yeah.
And the vantage point that these cameras, the camera in the thrift store was facing out, would be facing north, looking outside the store.
Yes, correct.
But the camera was actually inside the store.
Yes.
The camera for the glass shop is also facing north.
It's facing more of a northwest direction, more west than the thrift store camera, and it is also situated inside the glass store.
And by northwest, it seems to be, you can kind of follow my cursor here.
Yep.
Kind of go, it shoots out across the street toward these buildings.
Yes, you're correct.
I have nothing further. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any follow-up, Mr. Vanderbilt? Detective, is it Clutz?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. DeMora.
Call Dr. David Shatz.
Okay, great. Good afternoon, doctor. Good afternoon. Come on in and stand here at the podium. Right here. You can stand right in front of me. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you being here today. I'm going to ask the clerk to administer an oath, okay? And then we're going to have you sit in the witness stand. We have 2 lawyers to ask questions. We're going to get started. We're going to take a break in 7 or 8 minutes, so I doubt that we're going to be done with you But that's the proceeding, okay?
Sounds good.
All right.
Please raise your hand. Do you solemnly swear to speak out to give the cause not for the court, show me the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated. State first and last name of the record, and spell them both.
David Vernon Shatz, S-H-A-T-Z.
Okay, great. Thank you. Mr. DeMora, direct exam.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Dr. Shatz. Dr. Shatz, where do you work?
UC Davis Medical Center.
What do you do there?
I'm a trauma surgeon.
And how long have you been a trauma surgeon?
16 years at Davis and 16 years before that at University of Miami. Sorry.
How long have you been a medical doctor?
1981. So I graduated from medical school.
As a trauma surgeon, are you assigned to the emergency department for UC Davis?
That's where our patients come through, but we're not assigned there now. So that's different from an emergency physician. Trauma surgeons, we don't work in the emergency room. We just see patients down there when they come in.
Gotcha. So if I were to come in with some sort of like stab wound or gunshot wound or something like that, and I'm admitted to the emergency department, take us through the process of how I'd see someone like you.
So in the state of California, there are certain criteria by which paramedics will bypass a non-trauma center with a patient to get to a trauma center based on their injuries. When they get to that trauma center, each center has its own kind of internal tiering system. At Davis, we have a 3-level tiering system. The lowest level is the lowest level injuries seen by the emergency physicians, and usually that's it. Our second level is seen by our trauma residents and our nurse practitioners and the emergency physician, and our highest level is all those and the trauma attending or the trauma surgeon.
So, for UC Davis Medical Center is a trauma center, correct?
Yes.
And so for a paramedic to take an individual, a patient directly there has to be, would it be fair to say, significant injury?
Yes.
Now, when you went through your 3 tiers as a trauma surgeon, you only directly respond to the most severe injuries, does it sound like?
Correct.
When we say the most severe injuries, what are these typically life-threatening injuries?
They're potentially life-threatening based on, yes.
I guess I should say, sort of what criteria are you looking at to determine that someone is a tier 3 response where you would have to get involved?
So a serious brain injury, we have a grading scale for that. Any penetrating injury to the torso, low blood pressure less than 90, requirements for intubation, in other words, a mechanical ventilation, a tube in the throat. There's about half a dozen of them.
A penetrating injury to the torso, could that be a knife wound?
Yes.
I would imagine not all knife wounds would require a tier 3 designation. Like, for example, if I got cut on the top of my hand, that would probably not be a tier 3.
Correct.
For these penetrating injuries to the torso, is there a concern or would something that could potentially hit a vital organ rise to the level of tier 3?
That's the reason they're in that level.
So on May 2nd of 2023, did you have contact with a patient by the name of Kimberlee Guillory?
Yes.
And was she admitted to UC Davis Medical on that day?
She came into the emergency room and then she got admitted to the hospital, yes.
Is it fair for me to say that since you, you're one of several people who attended to her or checked or evaluated her when she was in the hospital, correct?
In the hospital or in the emergency department?
Emergency department.
Yes, it's a large team.
Is it fair to say that Ms. Guillory's injuries rose to the level of a Tier 3 response?
Yes.
Why is that?
Some stab wounds hit nothing. Some stab wounds get in and hit something serious, and hers was the latter.
You say some stab wounds hit something serious, and hers was the latter. Do you recall where her stab wounds were?
She had a stab wound to the right back and one to the right buttock.
In terms of the injury, the stab wound to her right back, what, if anything, was significant about that?
From the outside, it was not bleeding, so nothing. But her blood pressure was low coming in, which meant likely she had been bleeding. And in that area back on that side, there's a kidney, the colon, the liver, lung.
So why was that a concern then?
All those organs can either bleed or collapse in the case of the lung.
Were you aware in your evaluation of Ms. Guillory and in talking to other medical personnel of whether she had lost blood?
I know her blood pressure was reported low by the paramedics during transport, or at scene or transport. We usually don't have an estimate of blood from the scene.
Was she responsive to you?
Yes. I'm trying to remember, but yes.
Thanks. Like I said, we're going to take our break. We got a little bit in, but we have more questions for you on the other side. The jury's been working hard, and we're going to get back to you. At this time, Doctor, I'm going to excuse you for 15 minutes. It might be closer to 3:20 on this break.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Just a moment. I'd like the jury to remain seated for just a second, okay? And we're going to cut the live stream and go off the record just a second. And no media involved.
All right, they cut that feed, so we're going to go back to the other one, which seems to be back. I don't know why they went off, but they did. So we'll come back here. You can't fool us. We're quicker than that. Ha! All right. Shoot. Come over here. All right, so they are at their afternoon break. We heard from a officer, Shay McCampbell. He brought in a video of a person go on a bike. Then they brought in two guys, a sergeant. Let's see. A sergeant and a detective from Sacramento. They were to help support Davis. Sergeant John Lopes, he took 381 photos. And then during cross, they kept going after this pile of gravel, right? Pile of gravel. So, and then he's like, somebody sitting on that log could be looking at apartment complex across the street. And then I went back to the opening statement, and defense was talking about he would sit on this log, looking down these tracks. I don't know. I'm not quite sure where they're going with that. Mr. Hutchinson, yeah, because let's see. Trying to think what was he going with this? I don't understand this pile of gravel and train tracks. I'm trying to find it. Maybe it's under tracks. No, it must be train. Shoot. Anyway, he's going on and on about that. He would sit on this log and look down these train tracks wistfully. I just don't understand that. Not quite sure what that's from. And then on cross, they just go through. Hutchinson goes through Well, did you get surveillance video from the Hilton? Did you get it from the cinema? Did you get it from Froggy's Bar? Did you get it from the bakery? Did you get it from the restaurant? Yada, yada, yada. Went on and on and on. Froggy's Bar sounds like a fun place to hang out. And right now, they're talking to the trauma surgeon, Dr. David Shatz. So Tier 3 designation for trauma would be a vital organ, and he dealt with Kimberlee. Kimberlee came in. She had a stab wound in her right back and her right buttock, and but her blood pressure was low, and he was concerned because, your kidney, your colon, lungs, you got a lot of vital organs back there. And also, I think she was ultimately stabbed, I think in the liver. I'm not sure. Well, we'll find out. We'll find out in a second. So, Drunky the Bear, there seems to be so much fluff in this case. I'm not sure why he's going on and on with the surveillance. I mean, I guess it's showing, I can see, because they want to show state of mind. So they want to show, he's just riding around at, 11 o'clock, midnight, it's raining. That would show that he's not competent, or he is competent, or he's not aware of his surroundings? He is aware of his surroundings. I'm not quite sure which way that goes, Drunky, because it's all about state of mind. Nobody is denying this. That's what he said. That's what Mr. Hutchinson said right at the top of right out of the opening gates. I've read this a couple times, but I'll read it again. His first couple sentences were, not disputing the actions. The question is, what was Carlos's specific intent and mental state? So that's what he's saying. Would sit on a log staring down the tracks. Would throw knives at the ground or trees. He carved a face into a tree. So who cares if he was sitting on this log across from this apartment complex? I don't get it. I'm not quite sure. He clearly has something in mind, Mr. Hutchinson. I do not understand what he has in mind, to be quite honest. If you guys are seeing his strategy, please let me know, because I ain't seeing it. Psychosaurus Rex, but state of mind isn't until phase 2, so that is why it's curious why they're bringing it all into phase 1. Well, right, but then the judge said, let's just stipulate all this, and then we'll talk about, just focus on his state of mind. So I don't know. I am confused. Drunky the Bear, but in giving 657,843 examples of state of mind, it gives a juror so much. I find it confusing. I kind of wish it was a little tightened up as well, but because now you got these people coming in from Sacramento, you got support coming in from Sacramento. I don't know. Shirley Roth says the guy that beheaded someone on an Ontario bus was found to be incompetent by doctors. Don't think they had a trial here. Well, competency and insanity are not the same. And Therapist is back from session. Awesome. Hope your session went well, Therapist. You didn't miss much, to be quite honest. We've had a couple detectives. We have a doctor on right now. We had a sergeant. Maybe this doctor might be interesting because he worked on Kimberlee. So we're going to hear about her wounds and her wounds. Psychosaurus, if someone is incompetent, they cannot legally be on trial. That is true. All proceedings are halted if competency issues are raised. As we found out from this case, he was incompetent up until December of this past year of 2024. So thank you for that. Psychosaurus, therapist you know, sending out some hugs and loves. So we're on a 15-minute break. 6 o'clock, I'm sorry, 6 till 6:15, 3 o'clock until 3:15 if you are on the West Coast. It's been kind of one of those days in trial. They've gone through so many people today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 witnesses in one day. That, I think, is like a record. I don't think I've ever seen so many witnesses go through. I can't. I've never seen them anybody go through 12 witnesses, and they're not even done yet. They still have like an hour and a half to go. We still may get another. Oh, looks like they're back. All right. I'll see you guys on the other side. I guess they bring it down because that's when the jury's coming in, or they just let us know that something's going to be happening. I'm not sure why they do that. All right. Kathy Smith saying hello, waving to everybody. Hello, hello. Oh, Psychosaurus. So if they're doing all of this state of mind in phase 1, are we going to hear it all again in phase 2 when actually trying state of mind? I have no idea. I don't know. I have no idea. I thought I heard like 41 or 50 witnesses. I do remember that, and they're at 42, so maybe they are going for 50 witnesses. They said they'd be done by Friday, so I think I want to say I think I remember they said 50 witnesses, and I thought that was for both sides, but no, I think that is truly for the state. So, no, therapist, you know what goes downstairs alone or in pairs? I don't know. I'll bite. What goes downstairs alone or in pairs? Drunky the Bear says, I do not know. Slinky? Widespread panic? Wow, this is a lesson in efficiency, that's for sure. Never mind, I thought we were talking about a slinky. I used to love my slinky when I was a kid. Socks? That's a good one. Feet, downstairs or in pairs. Steps. What was the original question? Oh, what goes downstairs alone or in pairs? Yeah, I guess feet. making me feel drunk. So Drunky says she was referring to Ace Ventura 2 when nature calls, when he does the slinky down the huge steps of the temple. What's up, dude? What are you doing? Joe, you know what the worst Christmas present is? A slinky for a kid that lives in a one-bedroom house. Ouch. Oh, a one-floor house. We got it. Oh, a one-bedroom would be, yeah, that would be bad too. One-bedroom, one-floor house. Wait, Joe. Dang it, screwed up the punchline. And then I put it all over the internet. Sorry, Joe. Here, I was ready. I was all ready for it. I teed you up. Oh, no, don't step on my keyboard, please, Pants. It's okay, Joe. We still love you. I can't go one-footed downstairs. Kids do that all the time, right? That seems to be like little kids. They always do the 1 foot. Super balls. Hi. Yeah, hi. Let me say hello. Say hi. Hi. Yep. You want to say hello? You want to say hello? Say hi. Hi. Well, hi. You gonna say hello? Okay. She's out. She's like, yeah. Hi. Yeah. Our little chirps. Furry greetings from Super Ball. Yes. Curvial. Yes. You got your fan club. Our little chirps. Oh. Wait a minute. Yep. You hear the birds outside? Yeah. They're pretty loud right now. Surprisingly so. Aw. You got your little fan club. Meow. Yep. We call her Squeaks because she chirps. What rolls downstairs alone or in pairs and over your neighbor's dog? What's great for a snack and fits on your back? It's log, log, log. Is that from a that sounds like that's from a commercial, or is that a song lyric? That purring is good for the soul. Yes. Kitty chirps and purring is the best. Yeah, her purr meows. Oop, she does purr meows. Her little purr meows. Hi. Oh, Ren and Stimpy? Ah. Yeah, God, I haven't thought about them in a long time. Yeah, I love Ren and Stimpy, but I don't recall that. Yeah, those birds are really loud. Yep, bears, yep. Drunky, Quicksilver, Messenger Service. That's a good song, too. All right, maybe they're coming back. All right, and I see some purring and meowing. Chirp. Got some Ren and Stimpy fans out there. Susie is, Northwest is. I have to admit, I have not watched them since, like, probably 94, 95 maybe. You watched them in the early 2000s? Yeah, I stopped watching.
9-1. People of the state of California versus Carlos Dominguez. We have Dr. David Shatz on the witness stand. He's subject to direct examination. Mr. Nomura.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Dr. Shatz, we had left off talking about Ms. Guillory's injuries, and so I want to come back to, you mentioned her blood pressure was low. Why is that a concern to you as a trauma surgeon?
It usually indicates bleeding.
Is the level, is her blood pressure level, does it indicate whether she had been losing blood for a long period of time or whether it had been less dire?
So we look at the normal blood pressure, so-called normal. Many of you may have a blood pressure of 90, which we consider critically low, but my wife does. But in general, a blood pressure of 120 is kind of a normal pressure. Less than 90 is considered critical. If it's a long-term bleed, as in over weeks, the body will compensate. But if it's an acute bleed, it doesn't have time to compensate. So that blood pressure less than 90 to us as trauma surgeons, as with an associated injury, means she's bleeding until proven otherwise.
Hold on, counsel. Doctor, can I have you move in a little bit and then move that mic up as far as you can to the top of it, angles. Yeah, there you go. I think that would be better for us. Okay. Go ahead, counsel.
Thank you. And doctor, could you recall, was Ms. Guillory's injuries, was her blood pressure in the critical zone, or was there something else?
It was low, yes.
For my own benefit, what's the normal range?
Again, a normal blood pressure is 120. 110, 120 is fine. 90 is very concerning.
Okay.
When a blood pressure is low and there's that indication that someone has been bleeding, is that a sign that that person may need a blood transfusion?
It could be, yes.
In this case, did Ms. Guillory need a blood transfusion?
Yes, she got a unit of blood.
What's that mean?
Units come in bags, about 250 cc's, that'd be about 8 ounces. In her case, her blood pressure was low, but she did respond to that unit of blood. In other words, her blood pressure got better.
Can you tell us your experience as a trauma surgeon? If she had not gotten that unit of blood, what could have happened to her?
Well, and when we got further along in her workup, she was actively bleeding. So it was a combination of she needed blood transfusion and we needed to stop the bleeding. Otherwise, she would have bled.
What we typically call a bleed out?
Yes.
When we say bleed out, that means that someone will die or pass.
Yes, usually you bleed to the point your blood pressure is so low that the heart stops.
And so, we talked about the two injuries, the injury to her right back and the injury to her right buttocks. Did one of the stab wounds that she had received hit an organ?
Yes.
Which one of those?
The right back.
What organ did it hit?
Right kidney.
What's the kidney do?
It filters the blood and removes the impurities and removes excess fluid. So that's what's in your urine.
Was this a concern to you as a trauma surgeon?
In her case, yes, because there was one of the organs that's lying near that stab wound.
What's the organ lying near that stab wound?
The kidney, the duodenum, the liver, the pancreas, the colon, all of which either can bleed or leak bowel contents, all of which are bad and life-threatening.
And so when you assessed that she had a wound to her kidney, were you able to tell just how severe that wound was?
Well, we found that wound by getting a CT scan. And on the CT scan, you could see the amount of kidney that was damaged and the fact that it was actively bleeding.
How much was damaged?
We have a grading scale of 1 to 5. It was a grade 3, or grade 4, I believe. It's a higher grade, near the highest.
And what type of medical response does that require?
Stopping the bleed.
When you say stop the bleed, is there a certain level of urgency to stop that bleeding?
Yes.
How come?
More time we wait, the more blood's going to get lost. In the case of her, before radiologists can do what they can do now, it was an operative thing, so to require surgery and often the loss of a kidney. The radiologists now, they're called interventional radiologists, so they can poke a needle in the groin, into the artery there, feed a catheter up the aorta, out that renal artery, and out to the kidney that's bleeding, and they can put a coil in there and actually stop that vessel from bleeding. So it's very technically demanding. It takes a while. The end of it's a Band-Aid on the groin. We kind of joke about it because of a very serious injury. On the outside, it's a poke in the groin. But otherwise, it would have been, it would have kept bleeding and she would have died.
When you inspected this area in the right back, could you tell how many stab wounds there were?
There was one in each of those two locations we just spoke about. Can I add one more thing to your last question? The urgency is so much so that the American College of Surgeons verifies trauma centers. So if you hear of a trauma center being a level 1, a level 2, that sort of thing, that is the American College of Surgeons that verifies that they meet all the standards. One of those standards is that interventional radiology, that from the time that those radiologists are called by somebody like me, they have 60 minutes to have the patient on the table with that needle in the groin. So that gives you an idea of the urgency.
So something like that requires a very, very quick response in a very narrow time frame.
Yes, and it requires a whole team of people to do that.
Could you tell in your CT scan, in your evaluation, Ms. Guillory, the angle at which the stab wounds were? Meaning, did they come like straight down? Did they come in at an angle?
Not really. Because as you're standing and sitting and lying at different angles, the kidney's relatively fixed, but there's still some potential movement of from one position to the other. So, and we don't usually. Sometimes we'll put markers on the outside where the injury itself is, so we have a little bit of a relationship on the CT scan. The problem with those markers is that they're metal, and then the radiation, the X-ray is kind of spray, so they make the image a little less clear.
Could you tell how deep the wounds penetrated?
Well, I got into the kidney, so I don't know, 4 inches or so.
Was there any damage, when we looked at the stab wound to her right back, was there any damage to any other organs, vital organs in that area?
So CT scans are great, but they're not conclusive. And in the case of the kidney, we knew what the injury was, we knew what the bleeding was. The problem in all those other organs I mentioned back there, the abdomen has got kind of 2 spots. It's got a bag called the peritoneum, and that's where all the bowel and most of the organs are. Then there's what's called the retroperitoneum, where things like the duodenum, the pancreas, the colon reside.
Can you slow down just a
Sure,
little?
sorry. So where those other organs reside. You can do a decent abdominal exam if there's an injury to organs within that peritoneum. You can't do that kind of exam if in that retroperitoneum it just doesn't work. So the danger of having a missed injury back there could be catastrophic. So that's why we ended up taking her after the kidney bleeding was stopped. We took her to the operating room and opened her abdomen really to look for those injuries, because if there had been one and we hadn't picked it up for a few hours or a day or two, the results would have been very bad.
Can you repeat the organs that you were listing when the court reporter interrupted you?
Yeah, sorry. Duodenum, pancreas, liver, colon, kidney. That's probably it.
When you did surgery, were there any further injuries in those areas?
No. We had to immobilize all the organs to see the backside of those organs, but there was no injury.
And just as Ms. Guillory's kidney, if it hadn't been repaired, she could have died. And when you say something could have been very bad, in this case, if there had been injuries to those additional organs, do you mean she could have died as well?
Yes.
Were you able to, before I move to the right buttocks area, were you, when Ms. Guillory was in the emergency department, were you able to actually physically see the wounds on her back?
Yes.
If you could, standing up, just point to the areas where they were.
I can tell you I saw them, but I can't tell you I remember where they were exactly.
That's fair. All right, now moving to the right buttocks area, was the stab wound here consistent with what you saw the stab wound to the right back to be?
Yes.
Like the size of it?
It was about a centimeter difference in size, which is a third of an inch. Other than that, there was the same.
How big were each, when we look at the wounds and not just the differences between them, what would you estimate the size of each stab wound to be?
What we wrote in the chart was 2 centimeters for one of them and 3 centimeters for the other. So it's 2.5 centimeters per inch. So a little less than an inch and a little more than an inch. I don't remember which was which.
So the right buttocks area, do you remember how deep the wound was in this injury?
We would never see the wound's depth from the outside. We can only guesstimate it from the CT scan. And I don't remember what it was. There's not a lot back there except for muscle and vessels and nerves, but for the most part, it's the muscles that would bleed, but it wasn't bleeding.
And did this injury require any specific medical treatment?
And we just washed it out and closed it.
So no vital organ hits with this one?
No.
So unlike the injury to the right back, the right buttocks was not a life-threatening injury?
Correct.
And did you have a chance to review Ms. Guillory's medical records?
Yes. Specific to kind of what I took care of, including her discharge summary, which I wasn't involved with at that point. But.
And are those medical records made in the regular course of business?
Yes.
Do you and other medical professionals at East Davis Medical, do you make the entries into the medical records at or near the time an event takes place?
As close as possible. In her case, for instance, her initial evaluation in the emergency room probably wasn't written for 3 or 4 hours because we were busy doing surgery and that sort of thing.
That's fair. So it's more of a priority to take care of the patient than to make the entries.
Correct.
The first available opportunity where a patient's life is not at risk, then you can make the entries.
Correct. Yes.
If you could explain to us how those records are prepared.
It's all on the computer. There are certain templates, for instance, for a history and physical exam versus a progress note versus a procedure note, in this case an operative note. The history and physical basically is what the patient tells you, what your findings are, and what the studies are, and what your conclusions and plans are. And the operative notes are what our preoperative diagnosis was, what our postoperative diagnosis was, what the procedure itself was, who the surgeons were, how much blood loss, that sort of thing.
And you as the trauma surgeon, when you're brought in, I take it some of these notes have already started to be generated.
Yes.
And while you're generating notes or evaluating someone, a nurse or another practitioner could also be entering notes into the chart?
Yes, simultaneously when the patient arrives, there is a documenting nurse who's taking down every time, every vital sign, every medication given. So those notes by that nurse are being generated pretty much simultaneously as to what's happening. Some of the other nursing notes are maybe generated 2-3 hours later, but.
And as you're still tending to the patient and Ms. Guillory, have you in this case, did you go back and review some of the notes that were being produced by other people while you were tending to her?
Most of what I look at is the radiology notes, the labs. The notes are, again, in the process of being generated. Some of those notes, she came in around midnight. I probably didn't see the resident's notes until 8, 9, 10 o'clock next morning because we're operating at 6 in the morning.
And as multiple people have access to Ms. Guillory's chart, what are the process or what are the procedures in place to make sure that those notes are accurate?
Theoretically, every note, so the notes get written by the residents, and then they come to me to sign. I always put some kind of notation what my findings were. Theoretically, my signing means everything in that resident's note is correct. If I read every residence note and every single word, I wouldn't be here. I'd be in my office reading more notes.
Fair point. And so, when you looked at People's Exhibit 30 and looked at some of the notes, did you see references to your name in there?
You got to tell me what reference 30 was.
Certainly. May I first round?
Yeah, we haven't gotten there yet, so go ahead.
Dr. Shatz, I'm showing you People's Exhibit 30, and this is by the PDF, page 47 of 898. Do you recognize this document?
Yeah, that's history and physical.
Okay, and the history and physical is that of Ms. Kimberlee Guillory?
Correct.
And is this a patient that we've been talking about today that you treated on May 2nd?
Yes.
And right here under procedure operations, it says trauma Shatz. Is that you?
That's me.
And is this a fair, this page, is this a fair and accurate copy of Ms. Guillory's chart?
Scroll down the bottom. Sure. If my signature's on it, I'll tell you yes. And, this is a discharge summary. Oh, that's right. Okay, this is a discharge summary that starts with the history and physical, but I think I'm too far. So this is the, I'll re-say. So they come in the hospital, they're in the hospital for a day, 2 days, 3 months. At the time of discharge, they get a summary written, so for the next provider can not have to go through 900 pages. So this is a discharge summary of what happened during her hospitalization. So correct what I'm saying, it starts with a kind of a summary of her history and physical. I was on that night, I operated her next day. We have a team, any given day we had 7 of us on call. So I was on for 24 hours, so I operated her, and then my partners took care of her for the duration. I don't write notes. When I have a case like this, I check in to see how she's doing, but I don't put notes in the chart.
Let me move to another page. Moving to page 72 of that. Do you recognize that page?
That's probably part of her discharge summary too, but that is a results of the CT scan of this case, her chest.
Okay, and were you part of the CT scan or present for the CT scan?
I was present when the scan was being done, yeah.
I'll show you page 172.
Any objection to these records?
In general, no. I do have cross-examination.
Okay. So we don't need to go through this process?
They were business records received in response to a subpoena, so.
Right. Well, they're also accumulated. I mean, I have the doctor's testimony as to what he did.
Right.
So I don't know that we need to go through these records any further. Unless there's something particular that you want to draw out of Mr. Kumar. I don't mean to cut you short, but...
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No. And Dr. Shatz, when was Ms. Guillory discharged from UC Davis?
On the 9th of May, so 7 days later.
That actually was my last question, Your Honor.
Okay, great. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate it. So, Mr. Hutchinson-Cross.
Good afternoon, Dr. Shatz. My name is Dan Hutchinson. Thank you for being here this afternoon. Sir, if Ms. Guillory's only injury had been the stab wound to her buttocks, she likely would not even have been transported to UC Davis Medical Center.
That's a great question. It's a penetrating injury, so it wouldn't have hit the highest level because it's a torso is and not in the paramedic's eyes. But it is a penetrating injury, so it still meets trauma criteria, so she would still come to us. It just would have been that mid-level activation of personnel.
Had there only been the injury to the buttocks, you likely would not even have been involved in this case.
I'd be involved a few hours later. when everything's done, the residents would call me and say, we got this lady, and this is what happened, and then I go down and see her before she gets discharged. That's usually the case.
In this case, what really got you more involved was the injury to her back.
Yes.
That was on her right flank.
And there are two things. One is that the basically two trauma criteria, activation criteria, the blood pressure less than 90, that was the one, and then the torso penetrating injury. So it's actually two reasons why she came to a trauma center and my level of involvement.
So you mentioned the blood pressure and the penetrating injury.
Correct.
And it was to her right flank.
Correct.
That by right flank, you mean the right side of her back?
Yes.
You remember seeing that injury?
I don't off the top of my head.
But you obviously saw it.
Correct.
But you've seen many penetrating injuries.
Correct.
And I assume it's probably impossible to sit here 2 years later and specifically call every single penetrating injury you've seen.
Correct.
And that's why when the prosecutor asked you to show where it is, you couldn't specify where on the right flank it was.
Correct. I will say that with experience, you learn to recognize patterns. So a specific location of gunshot wound, a stab wound, a baseball bat, with that knowledge of what's underneath that location, and that's when you start ranking. You recognize the patterns. If it had been a blunt injury, a baseball bat, for instance, the kidney still could have been split.
So would it be fair to say that you were not particularly concerned with the injury to the buttocks? Your focus was on the injury to the back?
Yes.
You testified earlier that this was on her right buttocks?
Yes.
Is there a reason why the medical records on multiple occasions would identify it as the left buttocks?
I don't know.
So, sir, I'm going to show you defense exhibit. This is not People's Exhibit 30, right? I'll show you People's Exhibit 30. Put it in search for left buttocks, and you see there's 6 results. You can just scroll through and take a look at all the times. Here's a little arrow up there you can press on too.
Okay. So this first one is a discharge.
Just take a look at them. So go through and look at the 6 locations where the term left buttock comes up.
While he's doing that, this is Exhibit 30, and it has approximately
900 pages.
900 pages. Okay.
A little less.
All right, and you've used a search engine, and he's looking at the 6 references.
I did a search for left buttock, and there were 6 results.
Okay.
Yeah, some of these are. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Did you look through all 6 of them?
I think so. Yes. Yes. There we go.
And those entries where it says left buttocks or left buttock, that is records that are entered by someone else. It wasn't you.
Correct.
Just a moment. So now, sir, I'm going to show you a search where I'm going to put in right buttock, and there's 1 result, and for people's reference, this is page 130 of 898. Take a look at it. Read this as well.
Okay. This is, my note. So, as I said,
Just take a look at this.
Okay.
Is this, where it says right buttock, is that your note or is that someone else's?
my note.
And the notes where someone identified as left buttocks. Who, based on what you saw, who entered those notes?
A variety of people.
Excuse me?
A variety of people. Yeah.
Okay, sir, now I'm going to do a search for right superior, the words right superior, and 4 results come up. If you could take a look at those. So you see, I put in right superior, there's 4 results. If you could just scroll through and look at all those.
So of your notes here, right superior.
Just look at them.
I have, but right superior refers to the kidney and the buttock a couple times.
So in the search results of right superior, of those 4 that came up, were
Yes.
how many were referring to the buttock and how many were referring to the
I
kidney?
think about half, 2 and 2.
2 referring to the buttock, 2 referring to the kidney.
Correct.
The term superior, what does that mean in medical language?
Upper.
So, right superior back would be upper back?
Yeah, mid to upper back, yes.
Mid to upper back? Anything other than lower?
Yeah, again, it kind of, there's no external landmarks in the back. I mean, there are, but you have to count the spines, and we don't do that in general, so it's more of a guess or not an estimate. If it's like you're looking at the colon, you can say proximal, distal, whatever, but in the back, it's more.
So superior, right superior could mean mid-back, it could also mean upper back.
Well, upper back is down into the chest.
So, given the location where the kidney was, superior in this case is referring to more to mid-back?
Yes.
And to the extent you can, do you distinguish between upper mid-back or lower mid-back, or no?
Again, there's the back that we, in the lay terms, refer to as like the whole back. In the medical terms, if it's going to be more in the thorax, to chest, for instance, I would say upper thorax would then direct others in the medical world. That's probably going to be more of a lung injury, as opposed to the back, which would be kind of like below the ribs.
So, if you're referring to a buttock as the superior of the buttock, that would mean the top of the buttock? Or the...
Yeah, I mean, the iliac bone, the pelvic bone underneath, is that the bone you feel on the outside. That's the upper part of that bone. So that mass down there is the gluteal muscles, the buttock muscles. So it's kind of in that general areas.
And in terms of, in medical language, where does the buttock begin and the back end?
That pretty much is that bone.
That's the bone, the pelvic bone?
Yeah, and the reason is because a bullet will go through the bone. A knife won't. So that bony pelvis is what protects all the internal things we were talking about before that live down there, the bowel primarily. So I'm not concerned about a internal organ if that bone's protecting it. So that's why the buttock is kind of on the upper part of the bone and then down to where that folds into the leg.
So if someone were going to try to feel this bone, where is it located? If you're going to direct me to.
So if you feel right on your sides, that's the top of that iliac bone. That bone kind of goes around behind.
So if you're standing, putting your hand right by your side, right at your hip, that's the iliac bone.
Yep. Yes, sorry.
So, sir, given that we have some conflicting information in the medical records, 6 references to left buttocks, 3 references to, well, 1 left reference to a right buttock, and then 2 references to a right superior buttock, how are we to determine where the injury was, whether it was on the left buttock or the right buttock?
I actually went back to look. Sometimes we take pictures. There were no pictures in the chart. I guess what it came down to is the injury was not our focus of our concern, but you're absolutely right. We do find errors like that in cases. Somebody writes one, what's the other? I tell you it was the right side, and the next thing you know, it shows up in a chart somewhere. So, but you're correct. It was incorrect in those documentation.
So as you sit here today, from your memory, although you know there was 1 buttock wound, as you sit here today, you don't have an independent memory whether it was on the left buttock or the right buttock?
No.
I have nothing further. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Hutchinson. And Mr. Demore, any redirect for Dr. Shatz?
Dr. Shatz, can you just point to where the kidney area is located on the map?
And if you feel kind of where your ribs are, it's pretty much right there.
If you wouldn't mind standing up and
Sure.
together.
So my ribs end right about there. The kidney is about there. And it's about that big. I don't know, 4 inches.
Thank you. No further questions.
If you gesture that the kidney is about 4 inches,
Yes.
and as it's in your body, is that 4 inches kind of going up vertically?
Yes.
Do you recall where the injury was? At the top of the kidney, middle, bottom?
So the radiology reports of the superior pole, that's where the right superior came from. So the upper part of that kidney.
So the upper part of that 4-inch organ that you described?
Yes.
All right, thank you, sir.
Nothing on that.
Okay, great. Thank you, counsel. Dr. Shatz, I appreciate you making time for us. Have a great day.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. Demore, do you have a witness?
We'll recall Officer Nicholas Burke.
Can we approach?
Yes. Just a moment. To the jury, I'm going to talk to counsel briefly in the hallway, so feel free to stand up and stretch. Thank you. Off the record.
Quick little stretch break there. So they're taking a break, talking in the hallway. All right, so we heard from Officer Shay McDonald. Oh, wait a minute. We already did that. Okay, so Dr. David Shatz, he was the trauma surgeon. He talked about Kimberlee. Her blood pressure was low and critical. She came in around midnight. They didn't operate on her until 6 a.m. Wow. That's a long time for trauma, sitting around. Anyway, and then the judge asked for his own benefit, what's normal blood pressure? And doctor said 120 to 110. 90 is very concerning. They gave her a unit of blood, or 250 cc's, which is about 8 ounces. Her blood pressure got better. So they talked about the right kidney being hit. It went in about 4 inches, which is what we heard from these other wounds. Okay, so he opened the abdomen to make sure there were no other injuries. No other injuries were found, and she was just discharged on the 9th. So she came in on the 1st to 2nd, midnight, 1st into 2nd. So she was there, 7 days. And then the focus was on the back and not her butt, her butt cheek. So multiple times it was identified as the left buttock. But it was by somebody else. Again, who cares? Right, left? Yeah, she still got stabbed. To redirect, He asked him where to point out the kidney. The kidney is he has it on the back left area. And it goes vertical, not horizontal. No, wait. Oh, it goes vertical, not horizontal. So the kidney goes up, not across. All right. Interesting. Right, Jamie? That's what my notes say, right? 6 hours. He said she came in around midnight and he operated on her around 6. I hope maybe I misunderstood that. Maybe he said, because that's when they were talking about getting to his notes, that's when he was talking about getting to his notes. So maybe I misheard. Maybe he said that's when he did the notes. I don't know. I have down, came in at midnight, operated on her around 6. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong with that. So, yeah, Pammy, right? He still stabbed her. Who cares if it's a right cheek, left cheek? He still stabbed her. They did the vein kidney thing earlier. Oh, is that with the poke in the groin can lead you to bleed out? Is that what you're talking about? The vein kidney thing? Northwest, interventional radiology to fix kidney was earlier, took 7 hours, then open abdomen early morning. Oh, okay, so that's what that was. Thank you, Northwest. So okay. All right, so operate her. So that was the abdomen thing. All right, operate her, okay.
Okay, back on the record. And thank you, counsel. We're dealing with a piece of evidence that is a lengthy transcript. I need to review it in more detail, so I'm not going to be able to do that right now, right in front of you. We need to take more time. And so that's my way of saying we're done for today, because I need time to look at it. And I have some other issues I want to address with counsel. So it has been a full day. Many witnesses have testified. And this trial remains on schedule. We're working this week, and we're working from 9:30 to 4:30 with our normal breaks. And as I indicated earlier, the jury appreciation is a week, so the things that they have down there will be there all week. So I hope you get a chance to pop in and do that this week sometime. And so the 3-part admonition is in play. We're going to see you at 9:30. Don't form any opinions. Don't discuss other than scheduling. And then don't research. And I'll see you back ready to go at 9:30 tomorrow for a full day. Thank you, folks. Operator.
All right. They're done for today. Adios. Bye, jury. So I guess that's it. I'll just make sure that they're not. Sometimes they'll come back. Jury Appreciation Week, right? Is it just, yeah, I heard him say something about that. Jury Appreciation Week 2025. Jury Appreciation Week is May 5th to the 11th. There you go. Jury Appreciation Week. So, Jury Appreciation Week, May 5th through the 11th. Oop. Are they coming back? Sometimes they come back. Yes.
Back on the record outside the presence of the jury. So there was an objection by the defense to the statement recorded by Officer Burke as to the witness Alberto Osorio. And I want to just get that more robustly stated on the record. Mr. Hutchinson, state your objection.
Yes, Your Honor. This was recorded by...
Can you pull that mic close to you?
Yes. This is a body camera recording of Officer Burke's entire interview with Mr. Osorio shortly after he responded to the location. And the people stated the basis for this admissibility over a hearsay objection is a prior inconsistent statement and prior consistent statements. The people seek to play not only a small portion of the recording, but the entire recording. Looking through the transcript, with perhaps one exception, I don't see anything that would be inconsistent with his testimony. But it should only be that portion that is admitted, not the entire recording. Also, with respect to prior consistent statements, it's not enough simply that it be consistent, then any prior statement will ultimately be admissible. It has to meet the foundational requirements in Evidence Code Section 791. And without reviewing Mr. Osorio's transcript, with perhaps one exception, I don't believe that would apply at all. So there may be one or two portions that people can play under those exceptions, but it's my position that the entire recording remains inadmissible hearsay. I should note that although this was taken shortly after this incident, the people do not seek to admit it as a excited utterance. The court will see that Mr. Osorio was extremely calm. By his own testimony, he hadn't observed anything, and in describing it, he is clearly talking about the incident 2 hours earlier where they chased Khalid Siddiqui, and he is combining the two incidents as to one, which is very confusing for Officer Burke as Corporal C. So I don't believe the entire portion is admissible over a hearsay objection.
Okay, and what portion have you flagged that you have no objection to?
Well, I said I asked the people to articulate which statements they believe may apply. I don't think it's my...
Well, okay, well, you said...
I said may apply.
All right,
I don't want to...
Okay, thank you. And then Mr. Vanderhook, briefly.
Yes, Your Honor. So there is some inconsistent statements regarding the description that he's putting forth in the timeline of the events. And I think what Mr. Hutchinson is saying kind of highlights the inconsistency of the statements, because the statements here are not actually about something that happened 2 hours earlier. He's talking a lot about something that happened 20 minutes earlier. And so you have something that happened at 9 p.m., which everyone agrees was not Mr. Dominguez. And then you have something happening 10 minutes before the stabbing, and then you have the stabbing. And Mr. Osorio is talking about things that happened in like a very short period of time before the stabbing. In addition, to the point that the statements are consistent, there was a cross-examination of Mr. Osorio that kind of had this implication that he's affected by people's statements outside of what he observed, and that he heard statements from other people, and that's affected what's going on with him. And so we have this statement, an intervening event, and then his testimony, and so this becomes a prior consistent statement to the areas where it's the same and is therefore admissible.
And I indicated when we met sidebar in the hallway that it's the type of thing I really need to review Mr. Osorio's testimony, which I have extensive notes on, and then review the transcript, and then consider your respective legal arguments and apply the law. So I'll do that, and the matter is of the objection to this body cam of Officer Burke as to the statement of Alberto Osorio is submitted. Okay, and then the defense indicated they had an issue they wanted to address, and so what else was that, Mr. Hutchinson?
Your Honor, two issues. There is a motion to exclude witnesses. As the court is aware, the prosecution sent materials to some of the experts with a cover letter making purported assertions of facts. One of those assertions of facts was that the prosecutor told the experts the cut to the tent was not a puncture, but it was a long slice. That is a fact the prosecutor told the experts and asked them to make an inference from that. We learned from Mr. Chessman's testimony that in fact it was a puncture the size of a tissue, and that it was later cut or torn by someone else. So my request, I've received a certified transcript of that portion of his testimony. I'm asking permission to provide it to the experts, given that they were told something contradictory by the people in the cover letter. But since there is a motion to exclude witnesses, I need the court's permission before giving them a transcript of testimony. My second request is I would like the court's permission to give my expert, the cell phone extraction, Brian Chase, the transcript of the testimony of Mr. Kumada, so he can review that in preparation of his testimony. I would have no objection to Mr. Kumada being permitted to observe Mr. Chase's testimony when he testifies. So those are the two exceptions I'm asking for the court's order to exclude witnesses.
Okay, thank you. Mr. DeMora, any argument?
Mr. Bader,
okay.
I'd submit on these requests. I think it's really important for the experts to get all the best information that we can give them. And so I think that anything we can do to get them accurate information, to get good opinions, is going to be beneficial to finding out what's going on here. And so, I would either submit or join. I think it's a great idea.
So my general rule is that the witness exclusion doesn't apply to the experts, and that we didn't clarify that, but I mean, this is standard in complex civil cases, that the experts can watch the whole trial, and then you question about what they watched, what they didn't, so they have an understanding, and they certainly can watch the testimony of other experts. That's a best practice in essential, or at least get daily transcripts. So anyway, if the parties are agreeable, I would just qualify the witness exclusion rule to exclude experts from that, and you can provide anything from the trial to the experts as long as you're letting each other know what's being provided. Sound good?
Yes.
Okay, agreed?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, all right, so it's an open transmission, bad word, but anyway, to the experts. The experts are not part of the witness exclusion rule. Okay, thank you. So we clarified that. Was there another issue, Mr. Hutchinson?
No.
Okay, so that's the defense. How for the prosecution? Anything?
No issues. Just one thing to bring to the court's attention. We were riding in the elevator this morning. Alternate juror number 6 said good morning to the people, and that was it.
Really nice fella, for sure. Roger. Yeah, so anyway, that's fine, and thank you for indicating that. And it's probably worth reminding the juror, because it's not normal to see people every day and to just ignore them. So, but I will mention one more time to the jury. So then I wanted to bring to the party's attention, I don't want to get caught flat-footed on jury instructions. And so I want the parties to be working on this. I realize we still have many days of evidence. But Mr. Hutchinson, you had mentioned an argument for an instruction, depending upon the evidence, for involuntary manslaughter. And so I would call your attention to Justice Hope's opinion in People v. McGee. That's McGehh. And that's 246 Cal App 4th 1190, and that's a 2016 opinion. And it's an excellent opinion to guide this trial court on the various issues about the admissibility of state of mind evidence in Phase 1, and then and what instructions should be given in a case like this. And they explain why involuntary manslaughter is not a proper instruction in a case like this. And basically the argument that if the defendant did not realize and appreciate that the person being attacked was a human being, that is a defense. and that is a defense that's set forth in insanity and would have to be tried separately at the second phase. It does not amount to involuntary manslaughter. And so they go through that in great detail, drawing from the California Supreme Court opinion in Elmore, and I won't, I'll just direct you to that opinion. So listen, I'll take argument on it. If you're advocating for that, you can make a record, but it looks to me to be black letter law, and the fact pattern there is in some regards similar to what we have before us in this case. The court would intend to instruct on Calcrim 3428 regarding specific intent and mental state. So I want the lawyers to either stipulate to language and or be prepared to make argument. And I want to hear your argument on Calcrim 627, which deals with hallucinations. If there's any evidence of that, be prepared to give me argument on that. And it seemed to me there was one other. Oh, yes, the people want 362 consciousness of guilt. And I believe the McGee case, if I remember correctly, yes, it has a very good discussion about how you should draft those instructions for consciousness of guilt under Calcrim 362 and state of mind under 3428 when you have a defendant and the issue is whether they can appreciate right and wrong and so forth when they're engaged in conduct. So anyway, I wanted to give you a heads up on those issues, and no need for comment right now. Just keep working on it. And I also noticed, Mr. DeMora, I don't think I saw GBI in that list that you put together. And so maybe I'm wrong, but I put a question mark on that. So you might want to, consciousness of guilt is 362. There's also 371. But yeah, GBI. Okay, so I wanted to share that with you on jury instructions. And you've got a full day tomorrow, Mr. DeMora?
Yes.
Okay, all right, good, thank you. And then I'll try to get to the Burke thing in Osorio. Anything else for the defense?
Your Honor, the people advised me that they may arrest as early as Friday. So at this point, I'm planning to have witnesses ready to go Monday morning at 9:30. If the people rest earlier, I could potentially have at least 2 or 3 witnesses here Friday, but that is my plan at this time.
Great, thank you. Thank you for coordinating. Friday we're off at 3, but if we get to the end of tomorrow or Wednesday and Mr. DeMora, you have clarity, we want to use every minute we can. We've got these experts on the back end, and we don't know how long deliberations are going to take. So every half day that we can save is a good thing. It gives flexibility to this jury. So just keep working together and keep those witnesses on call for Friday for now.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, folks. I'll see you tomorrow. Listen, I don't know that I'll have a ruling ready, but you're able to go without this Osorio matter. I'll get it done this week.
On the scheduling, we'll have a full day tomorrow. As I've indicated last week, I've been shifting witnesses because we are ahead of schedule. I've explained to Mr. Hutchinson that there is one witness for the people who is not available this week at all. His first day back is Monday. So
take him out of order. Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about that.
That's all good. Okay, thank you, folks.
Thank you.
All right. Off record. Thank you to
All right. So that concludes day 6. But that was pretty interesting. We actually heard some pretty good stuff there at the very end. So the defense objected to Officer Burke, and they were going to call Officer Burke because they said recall. So they were going to call him. And then Osorio. So that was Alberto Osorio. That was the body cam that they were showing earlier. Officer Burke was this afternoon, number 35. So, and remember when they were trying to bring that in, there was some back and forth, so they were kind of squabbling about that. So I guess they kind of sorted it out. So good night, Drunky the Bear. Good night, Baca. Have a good one, you guys. Enjoy your evenings. I will say goodnight to Aaron as well. No problem. Good night, Mbaka. Have a good one. Yeah, off at 3 o'clock. That's 2 Fridays in a row, so I don't know if that's... Oh, my. What? We got little Polly. We got pregnant little Polly over here. Little Polly's pregnant. Hi, little mama. Hi. Yeah, I know. Little squeakers. Squeaky squeaks. There she is, little squeaky squeaks. Hi. Meow, meow, meow. So we're kind of keeping her. We're videotaping her progress. So you guys that are following that, we're videotaping little Polly's progress as she progresses on. All right. All right. Have a good night. Yeah, little mama squeaking. I know. Mama meows. I know. Furry greetings, pretty Polly. We think, Mel, in like 4 weeks. We think she's about 5 weeks in now. This might be her 5th week. And they're supposed to be 9 weeks gestation or pregnant. So we think she's about halfway through. You can definitely feel her. She's getting pretty chunky. All right, let me just roll through this real quick. So the defense objects to Officer Burke and Osorio. Looking through the transcript, he doesn't see anything that would be inconsistent with the testimony. He said should only be the portion of the body cam and not the entire body cam. The judge then said, okay, the body cam is submitted. And then the defense has 2 motions. One motion to exclude witnesses. So he said letters were sent to the experts with facts that differ from the testimony of Chessman. So talking about that rip in the puncture, rip, slash, stab, whatever in the tent, because Chessman gave a different testimony. And then also the permission to give his expert the cell phone extracts from the state's witness, which was Christopher Kumada. What's up, kiddo? Come here. What? Come here. Come here. Oh, come here. Come here. Come say hello. Yeah, come here. Yeah. See if I can move Super Ball. There's little Polly. Hi. I know. All right. Good girl. Oh, pregnant Polly. Yeah, it's a good girl. She's definitely getting big. Now you know why we call her Floof. Her tail. She's got the big floofy tail. So, little Polly. I know. All right. And then, let's see. Then the judge said his general rule is that experts are not excluded. Yeah, Super Ball smacks her. I don't even understand. Super Ball is so mean to her. She'll go up and just smack her, and she'll smack Rafa. It's just terrible. And Polly will come up and she'll rub up against Super Ball, and Super Ball will smack her. Cats. So judge's general rule is that experts are not excluded. So it's not they're not part of the exclusionary rule or the exclusion rule. Jury instructions. So he talked about involuntary manslaughter. He mentioned the opinion so he goes through this opinion, state of mind in phase 1. So there we go. So I guess they are going to deal with state of mind in phase 1 and how it's not a proper argument. A person being attacked isn't a person. And that's more for phase 2. That's I'm attacking you, but I don't think you're a person. I guess if you're so tweaked out and you think that person's a Terminator or a vampire or a werewolf or a chupacabra. I mean, I guess if you're in such a state that you think that, oh no, you're not a human being, you're something, you're a demon, right? I mean, think about all those movies where people like, oh, that person's a demon. I gotta, look at freaking Laurie and the zombies, so they were not human beings. So I guess it's not that much of a stretch. He also mentions conscious of guilt in that. And then finally the defense said, well, the state may rest as early as this Friday, so he'll be ready Monday, but in case they rest earlier, he said he could bring in a couple people on Friday. So All right, that concludes our day 6. Appreciate you guys. Super Bowl may need to visit the Cat Whisperer. I know. Polly is she is. She's a beautiful kitty. Shirley Roth, such a cutie, Polly, like my lucky fluffy tail. Yeah, we call her Floof. Flooferton. Floof. Widespread panic. Super Bowl is trying to show that she's top cat. I know, but she doesn't need to be. I mean, she is sitting right next to Dad in the sky. She's got it all, perfectly set up. All right. I love saying chupacabra. It is fun. It's a fun. I knew it. As soon as I said that, I knew you were. As soon as those words were coming out of my mouth, I'm like, oh, I'm going to get an objection from child junkies. I knew it. Let's see. Oh no, this isn't another one of those cases. It might be Lily Wayne. Yeah. Well, Slim had a rough road trip. He went up to the Carolinas, had to battle through a earthquake, and he made his way back. But he's doing okay now. So. All right, guys. See you tomorrow, Missy. Thank you for joining us. Irish Amy, have a good night. Golden Girl, have a great evening. Love you guys. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to Aaron. Thank you for handling all the internet issues that we had. We lost power yesterday, so that just threw everything in a skiwampus. Thank you to Super Bowl. Thank you to Paulie and Rafa. Thank you to our thank you to our chat. Super Bowl's. There we go. Super Bowl says thank you for watching. She appreciates it. She's gonna bite me. Woo! You guys hear that rain? I'm getting a good old-fashioned downpour right now. Can you hear the rain? Let me fix this. Here, listen. Can you hear the rain? I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. Can't really see it, but it's raining, so. I love the sound of rain. Super Bowl's gonna go check it out. So, yeah. Looks like it might not last. Looks like it's gonna be over soon. When I was a kid, I would go out and I would record the wind going through like the pine trees and stuff. I love that. So, you can hear it? Yeah. All right, guys. With that, Slim says, this way. Slim says good night. Thank you to our mods. You guys are the best, and we will see you tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific, and all points in between. Have a great night, and thank you for watching Day 6 of California versus Carlos Dominguez. Have a good night, guys.